know, how like women fall into, and men too, fall into these manipulative situations, and they don't really know until it's too late, and you do end up in certain
So yeah, like
situations.
I was saying, really, that's like a point in the time where like you feel like, okay, I've already lived my life, and now I'm on to the point of like enjoyment, and I'm really like on a wind down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just like when you put yourself in a position like that, like it is kind of hard, and like it seems kind of like unbelievable. Like, okay, now I'm starting another life over, and I don't know. That's hard. Like that's honestly, I think that is difficult in a sense. You know?
Yeah, and especially dating after a certain age, you feel like, if your friends are still married or if your friends are still doing this and that, you kind of feel like life is kind of passing you by. And it's like, kind of sucks. Because I remember a couple years ago, I was really like depressed that all of my classmates were graduating from college, and then I was just here, and, I was like, damn, I ain't graduated yet. But then I started thinking, I'm like, we're not on the same timeline. Like, this is not a race.
Mm.
Like, this is my show. Like, this is me. Like, so after I had that reality check on myself, I was like, yep, I'm in my own lane. I'm doing my own thing. That's it. So, you know, but I was fresh out of a relationship. But I was like, damn. Like, I had a lot of questions about myself,
Mm-hmm.
my self worth. Like, I had a lot of doubts and insecurities about myself. Like, when you get out of a relationship, like I said, like you don't feel like, not a lot of people come out of relationships strong and powerful. We come out of relationships like drained because, for so long you've been attached to this other person. So it's like, it's kind of like you're stuck in like kind of like this routine where it's like that routine is broken, especially if they cheat. Like, a lot of insecurity stems from cheating. Like, cheating creates this whole monster of like, insecurities in people. So I feel like, a Fall from Grace really did touch on that aspect, but to an extreme, to an extent, because there are people who do come into your life when you are vulnerable like that, who will sweep you off your feet, rule you, and then bleed you dry, whether it be physical abuse, psychological abuse, emotional abuse, financial abuse,
Yeah,
because
that was crazy. Like what? Like
people
him taking
people
the
do
money basically.
financially abuse people.
So and this is why, like, before we get on to like the next point, I say this is kind of like to the point where like before you go on, I would say to marry somebody, it's just like you should move in with them, live with them, and kind of see like, all right, how is this
So
person
you're
when
saying
they're
like do like a trial run, like a Microsoft
yeah,
Word trial?
because they always say you don't really know a person until you move in with them, and it's just like, and that goes back. It's not even just like the fact of moving in with them, but like seeing them when they comfortable on a day to day routine, like waking up to this person and being next to this person consistently. You know what I mean? Because you like it's like, oh yeah, like you saw her in the beginning where it was just like it was all like butterflies and
Yeah, and
dates
then
and fun
she was
and
saying, that her friend kept pushing her to do the relationship. So you gotta watch sometimes. Like, a lot of people are not your friends. There are wolves in sheep's clothing who can be around you, who will push you into certain situations that can be toxic. Like, that was his whole mother, and she was scamming women with her son for over 20 years.
but being in a situation like that, like how do you like because like it kind of threw me for a loop until like at one point in time it's just like like I ain't see nothing wrong with the lady. I'm just like the only thing I thought was suspicious, and this was that caught me. I'm just like, all right, why is this trash thing so heavy? Like that was kind of like some foreshadowing that I saw. I was just like, why is her trash can super heavy? You know what I mean? Like I was just like, that's weird. You know what I mean? Like, like
I just think, that as people, we should not just like, if we get out of a relationship or if we're feeling vulnerable, we should work on ourselves and do a lot of shadow work and heal ourselves before we decide to jump into something, because that allure of like that true love, and that that those butterflies, and those first lies and stuff like that, they all sound great, and then when the smoke and mirrors are gone and the person really is who they are, then you're like kind of like, damn, like I just spent like 5 months of this and all this, that, or
well,
a year, whatever. I think they got
better.
married, what, in like 3 months, right?
You said what? Yeah, it's something,
Yeah, they
something
got married
like.
in like
But
three
that's what I'm
months.
saying. But that's what I'm saying. Like even in a matter of 3 months. But like this is, and we're gonna get to the point of the manipulator. But even being with somebody for like 3 months, you still don't really know who they are because you haven't been in every predicament with them. And this is why I say like when we've had this debate again at Tracy's kitchen, where it's just like, oh, how long does it take you to fall in love? I'm like, it takes a while because I need to see us in the argument. You know what I mean? How we handle that, like, what kind of positions and what pieces, like, okay, like if I ain't even do something to you, right? If like you got like some kind of like outside stress, How do you bring that home and reflect that to me? It's like things like that. It's like things like that that I gotta kind of keep in mind. You know what I mean? Because like in the beginning, like they always say, it's
the real relationship, the real part. You know, the part that's not all, oh my God, baby, you want to bite of my burger? It's like, bitch, you want to get the fuck away from my burger? I'm gonna kill you. Like, you get to the real relationship part, and if a lot of people can't make it past that part because we just fall in lust and not love, and we don't know the difference between
and not even just love, but not even just lust, but like infatuation.
Yeah, a lot of people are infatuated with who they think a person is until they see who the person really is, and then they're like, wow, like you're not the person who I met 3 months ago. Yeah, you're right. They have to put on like basically like a mask when you're dating or when you meet somebody. You put on a mask. You're not really 100% yourself because you can't just go out there and just be like, I'm me, like this is me, this is who I am, because then people you don't know how people perceive you. And then a lot of us are self-conscious about who we are, so we put on like a mask and we sit back and we say, all right, I'm gonna wait. And then once I get comfortable with the person, then I'll start letting, things out by time.
And even to the point of 3 months, and you pop the question, I'm just like, all right, hold it. I'm like, pump the brakes. You want to do what?
In 3 months? I'm not married.
I'm good. Like, nah. And like,
I look at you like crazy. Like,
in real talk, like if a woman doesn't want to fuck with me after that, because after 3 months, I'm just like, all right, yeah, I don't want to get married. Then I'm just like, well, this is done.
I was she had some screws loose, because how could you marry somebody in 3 months? You don't even know them.
Like you said, and again, like,
3 months, I can't even get your social security number that fast.
Like you said, like, in going back again, like you said, because she would, and this is what manipulators target. They target that somebody else is like, oh, I want to feel good. I haven't felt good in so long, and X, Y, and Z. And they really kind of target these people, and that's why I said they can't really go after a person that they feel like is going to challenge them or has like an extremely strong will, or somebody who's going to.
That's why manipulators usually target weak women who are chronically single. They target women who they know are looking for companionship, who hop in and out of relationships, like they hop from relationship to relationship. They know how to woo them. Sometimes they target women with low self-esteem, and you can spot someone with low self-esteem from a mile away. Those are like the pick-me women who post like that. So like, I be cooking for my man. If I had a man, I'd cook him like 8 meals a day. Like, listen, you gonna starve, okay? Like, I'm not cooking for nobody that ain't my husband. I don't got a ring on my finger. You getting ravioli out the can, and that's just that.
And I can't. And the thing is, like, I can't really speak from like a marriage standpoint, because like I've never been married, so I don't know. Like, like, damn, like, this is my wife. Like, she just betrayed. She just did the ultimate betrayal on me. Like, so it's just like, I don't know. It's I can't really speak on that too much, and how a person like will feel after that. But
yeah, the military people, they be like, after 2 weeks, they be like, listen, we get married, dog. But that's a different story for another day. We talking about like extreme abuse and manipulators who like really like target their victims, especially like victims that they know like have things that they may want or they can access or they can use them for, like, to gain things from them. Like I said, they target specific people. They don't go after like strong-willed people. They don't go after people who are going to be a challenge. They look for someone who's easy to target. Like, all right, say you're a woman, you're lonely, and you have your own house. And there's a guy, he looks good. He starts talking to you. He like, yeah, girl, sweet talking.
Hey, baby.
And then, after 3 months of, sweet talking, he trying to spend a night every other weekend and stuff like that. He slowly started moving stuff in, and next thing you know, you just see a tote, and then a PlayStation, and then some socks, and next thing you know, he lived there.
Somebody said, I never got ravioli out the can.
You gonna get it out the can this time. So, I'm just saying, they target specific people who they know, like, are gonna, accept that and tolerate that, because what they do is they don't just jump in and be like, all right, I'm a piece of shit. They do little things to start to see like to where they can like press your boundaries. And if you don't have boundaries established already, they're just gonna walk all over you, like pretty much. That's just it. You don't have no boundaries. That's it. You're just an easy target for them.
All right. So going. Like, let's get back down to this. All right, so from the view of the manipulator, like, for me, that's just too much energy to expend. You know, kind of like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna do this for you and this that like. This, that, and the fourth, like I don't know, like that. You gotta really be like a demented and twisted person. Like something has to be really psychologically wrong with you. Like that's sociopathical. You know what I mean? Like because like you putting
you don't have no feelings.
Yeah, like you putting on the entire front. Like all right, yeah, like and not saying that you don't have any feelings, but like you can imitate that level of compassion and try to like really understand the person only to use them. You know what I mean? Like that takes a lot. Like that's
it doesn't take a lot of effort.
No, but that
if you don't have any feelings for them, it's literally nothing for you. It's like child's play. It's like playing 2K for them. It's like this is easy. I'm about to do this.
But this is the thing. What I'm saying is just like it's easy like to like tell a person like what they want to hear, right? But getting to that level of like you make this person fall so hard that they agree to marry you in 3 months. Like even on a point,
you think it's far fetched, and it happens like all the time.
I don't know, like, but
you really think it's far fetched, and it really happens more than what you think. Like people are good at wooing people and drawing people in, especially if you have low self-esteem and you've never been introduced to like certain forms of intimacy and touch and love. Like someone who brings you that, you're gonna be like, oh my god, I don't ever want this to end. It's like ecstasy. It's like you're gonna want it to forever, to high. You're gonna be chasing it, and then when you come down from that and you realize that, whoa, like yo, this person really ain't shit. That's when you really realize, like, I've been tripping for these past 3 months. So,
but this is what I'm saying, like. I don't know if I've ever been in a position where, like, I mean, and not, I'm not gonna make it seem like I'm perfect. I've done some things that I know, like, I want. Shut up. I've done some things where I felt like I'm like, okay, I want to achieve like a certain reaction. You know what I mean? Like I know if I do this, if I pick at this issue, this person might react like this kind of way. But this is not like a full-fledged on like, okay, I'm gonna pretend to be this kind of person for this entire time. They were just like, all right, now
they don't even have to wait till marriage. You could gaslight somebody in a relationship that you're in already, because gaslighting starts with making the other person think that they're crazy. Like they'll do something and they be like, no, man, you tripping. Like you stay tripping. Like you always doing that. And then you ever notice like they flip it on you. Like, oh nah, it was you, yo. Like you're really bugging. Like you seen how when she came down and she asked him who he was on the phone with, and then he came back with them pictures of them kids, whatever. I don't know where he took them pictures of. He was like, there's 2 things I don't like. And I'd have been like, there's 2 things I don't like. Niggas talking on the phone, bitches in my house, and niggas and talking on the phone, bitches in my house. So you need to get the fuck out. And you can ask my baby father about that.
Shut up. Get out of here.
I'm just saying. Because that's not happening. Any bitch call you in my house, you need to go.
What if it's my cousin, though?
I don't care if it's your cousin. If your cousin calling you at 3 o'clock in the morning, asking you, talking about some, did you like the Fireflies? I don't know what type of Alabama stuff y'all got going on, but y'all need to go.
I mean, not 3 o'clock in the morning, but like, I can't talk to my cousin. Like, hey, cuz, what's good?
No, talk to your cousin in regular hours. There's 24 hours in the day. Why you gotta talk to your cousin at 3 o'clock in the morning? Absolutely not.
My cousin
you gotta get about the bed to talk to them.
My cousin worked the night shift.
Yeah, okay.
It's like no.
Yeah, okay. But, that's what gets you a bat across the head. So
we understand, like, you know, it's hard to like, you know, like. And why I'm saying like it's harder for that, because like why I say you really got to be like borderline psychopath is because, like, you know, you could kind of like I think that's what you get the fuck out. Like with her friend, you know, like I feel like, you know, you could front and be somebody's friend, you know what I mean?
Frenemies. You can have someone who is pretending to be your friend and they really set you up and put you in predicaments that, you know, are really set for you to fail. Like, and people do that all the time. Nobody wants to see you doing better than them. So her friend, who she thought was her best friend, was not her best friend. She was simply somebody who was going to use her and manipulate her.
Went over my head. Like, were they friends prior to that divorce?
Probably.
Or like, I mean, but did they mention that part of the story, or like?
I think they were friends for a while, but they didn't really go in depth of their friendship. But the fact of the matter is that her friend was willing to let her go down for life. Without the possibility of parole for murder of someone who wasn't even dead, and then said it out loud in the courtroom, and then had the chain on other dude. Like, you was really bugging in the courtroom. Like, yo, she was tripping.
And then she had to be like, she also had to be like borderline psychopath, like because
She
like
was.
again trying to like fake that kind of compassion and like.
But she had a whole house full of hostages.
Yeah.
Like,
and I mean, I guess what you've been doing it for a while, like you kind of like a pro, like, oh yeah, this is just.
Yes.
Or a Pisces. I'm gonna tag you more in that comment.
Please do.
But yeah, I guess you got to be like borderline psychopath for that kind of manipulation or being like, I don't know, but I scroll along my Facebook timeline and I always see like fake bitches, fake niggas this, so it's just like I feel like you can fake that for quite some time and still be, I don't know.
No,
like,
but I feel like, you know,
here, like, whoosh.
Abuse and manipulation, in a sense, that really could drive somebody to murder. Like, because you have to think about it. You're battering somebody to the point where they're no longer themselves. Like, all right, think about I don't know if any of y'all have any friends who've been in abusive relationships, but I've had some who have been in abusive relationships, and that physically morphs the person. Like, they physically change. Like, I've lost friends because of abusive relationships because they chosen their abuser over getting help and being in a healthy life and wanting better for themselves. Like, they'd rather stay with their abuser because that's the comfort they know. And then on top of that, their abuser has told them, like, nobody's gonna love you, nobody's gonna want you, like, look at you, this, like, they batter them down to the point where they're like, they think that they're not capable of doing any better in life. And it's not true. You can move past that. You can move past anything. Like, you can move mountains if you really want to with your mind. So don't ever make anyone think that you can't do anything less than greatness. So, you know, I've lost friends to abusive relationships. Like, not lost them like they're not dead, but they're dead to me. But I just feel like it's not, you know, something that I would, you know, pursue. Like, abuse is not a joke. Like, even though like the movie it did like, you know, have its little comical parts or whatever. Like, that psychological abuse is not a joke. You can get punched in the face and you black eye heels, but that psychological abuse, like, that really, like, that could bring a person to a whole different level. Like, that really, like, morphs a person's brain and changes them into a whole different person. They're not even the same person anymore.
So now, like, cause you know, Grace wasn't stupid. She went in there. She was just like, oh, they sent me the worst of the worst. You just here to get me to sign a plea deal and this, that, and the fourth. And it's just like, being in that kind of position, cause you know, in the movie she said she really only dealt with like misdemeanors. So you know what I mean, like, you know, little cases here and there, but never like saying, okay, sign this plea deal for murder. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. It's just like, and then like.
So she had her own test of strength too.
And I mean, like, how do you like? But she was like, no, I kind of want to do the right thing, and it's just like being torn between that, like, you know, because we see, can you?
But that's any time. That's anything. 50 cases a day.
I've never been to court, so I don't.
I have dealt with public attorneys and I've dealt with a paid attorney, and you know, they get 150 cases a day. Sometimes they don't even know their clients until they get to the courtroom. And you know, they don't get time to review their cases. So when she finally like really sat down and really started looking at like the case and really started seeing like her and studying her, and you know, when you study psychology and criminal justice, you study like human behaviors, you study you can tell a guilty person's behaviors versus like innocent people, like their mannerisms and things like that. So she knew in her heart, she was like, yeah, I can get her to sign a plea deal and go about my day and, you know, easy, you know, whatever, easy paycheck. But she was like, wait, no, like, there's more to this than what it is, because a guilty person wouldn't react this way, wouldn't cry, wouldn't do this. Like, you know, guilty people really, they don't have no remorse for what they did. It's more so like, just get me out of this jail. Like, I don't want to be in jail. That's really it. So for her to really like be upset, and then like her to be like taken aback by like the abuse, it showed her like there's more to the story than what was being portrayed, you know, by the DA and the prosecution. They were just trying to make her out to be like a cold-blooded murderer, and they didn't even find a body. So that's what's even more crazier to me. How you gonna deem a homicide and you don't even have a body?
So going back to like, this is something I want to touch on for the people. I'm trying to like fix this one at the same time, but for the people who actually do go through these situations, like these abusive situations, and with a point where like, you know, they might be feeling like really insecure or really like low self-esteem, and they feel like they just want to kind of like attach themselves to something. Like,
That's one thing. That's attachments are very unhealthy.
From a woman's point of view, what do you feel like would be like more beneficial, or something where you can kind of like, you know, not fall for the glitz and glamour of romanticism? You know what I mean? Like, you know, like
you have to. From what I was told by my lovely mother, is date yourself. What precedent you set for yourself is what you're going to get back out of a relationship. So if you want flowers, if you want candies, if you want gifts, if you want that, buy those things for yourself. Set that standard for yourself so that when you meet someone, they can't give you nothing less than what you feel like you deserve. Because if you feel like you have to settle and, like, you know, push back what you feel like you deserve, then of course somebody's gonna push those boundaries and things like that. They're gonna always do that because they're gonna be like, you're a pushover. Like you settle for me, so you might as well, like, you ain't gonna get no better than this. Like
that's and that right there is just like a really dangerous thing. What do you have as a comment for the manipulators out there, for the people who do twisted things, shit like this?
I really, honestly, you know, I'm not gonna say I'm against the manipulators because you know, you have to think about it psychologically.
Wait, what?
To get to the point of being a manipulator, to manipulate somebody, because there's two sides. To get to the point, I don't feel like there's no victims, because if you're being manipulated, that's because you chose to stay in that situation. If you're a manipulator, that's because you were probably taken advantage of and you felt like, I'm not going to be taken advantage of no more, so I'm going to take advantage of these people and da-da-da-da. So, you know, there's always two sides to something psychologically. Like, I look at things from the psychological point and from the outside, like the bigger picture of it, not just like, you know, like, oh, all the manipulators, and I don't male bash, because there are manipulative women. There are women who go out there and go see men with money who have low self-esteem, you know, they may be a little bigger or whatever.
I don't know what you heard about me.
And they may, you know, start sweet talking the guy, and the guy might be like, wow, this girl's really out my league, and da-da-da-da, and really, honestly and truly, she really does feel that way, and she's really just there to bleed you dry. So you have to be careful, like, in both genders. It's not just, you know, one-sided. It's not just women just are being abused. Men get abused all the time too. There are men in abusive relationships. I do a mentorship program on Facebook, and a lot of the people that I mentor, because I mentor a lot of people in relationships, are men who are in either abusive relationships, or their spouses are cheating on them or using them for money, or they emasculate them. Because you do have women who emasculate men to the point where they feel like, wow, I'm not even a provider, like, I'm not worth nothing, like, what am I even doing? Like, so you have to think about it. Manipulators come in all shapes, shades, and sizes. Like, it's not one-sided. It's not just like, oh, you know, women are just being abused and men are just out here manipulating them into giving them their money or beating them up or whatever. Like, it goes both ways. I
haven't really been in that position, but I know this one guy that I used to work with, you know, full disclosure, that, you know, he was saying that, you know, he was kind of like in a situation like that because I guess his ex in her previous relationship, she was like real, like being controlled or whatever, and then, like, I guess when they got into their relationship, he said, like, well, I'll let you have more kind of control over that, but then she ended up, like, bleeding him dry, and then, like, I guess they finally called off the wedding at the, like, I don't know, last minute or whatever the situation is, but I'm just like, bro, like, you know, you let that go on for, like, a certain amount of time, you know what I mean? Like, you kind of gotta, like...
But you see what she just said there, right?
Yeah.
She was being controlled, and then when she got into a relationship where she knew the person was willing to create one, you went through a circumstance or situation that made you be like, you know what, I'm not gonna be the victim no more. I'm gonna take.
I can't attest to that. You got some little some little ones that's out here that's kind of like sneaking and be like, you know what I mean, or some. I'm just like, yeah, we're gonna have to watch you when you get over there. You know what I mean? Like,
but you have to think about their upbringing, what they're seeing in their homes too. Like, again, it doesn't just, you're not born that way. Like, you see things, you're exposed to things that, you know, make you be like, wow, like, this is okay. Like, you know, maybe in their home, their dad may yell at their mom all the time. He may not physically lay hands on her, but he may assert his power over the mother and his dominance. So that little boy may be like, that's how I'm going to treat every woman that comes my way. I'm a man. So, and then he might run into a kid like my daughter who might not come out. So,
or get him one of those.
Yeah. So, you know, you have to really, like, be mindful of that. Like, you know, think about we were talking about the Lorena Bobbit thing. I didn't watch the documentary, but I did, you know, briefly read about the case. Like, I heard about her chopping his, you know.
That's the big highlight. Snip, snip.
And that's like one of those like extreme cases where it's like, you know, even with what was that girl that was in that her mom was abusing her, like using her, like putting her in a wheelchair and stuff like that. Like, abuse is abuse. Like, at the end of the day, like, well, and they end up killing their abusers. Like,
and the difference between like Lorena Bobbit and Grace is just like, well, first off, you know, she's again the age difference. You know, when she met her husband, you know, she was like fairly young, again military wife or whatever, and you know, she still had like a lot of life to live, but it was to the point where she was being like physically and sexually abused like consistently.
Bitter hearts do create manipulation.
Yeah, and like being in a position like that, like you become afraid because like if you watch like in the documentary, like she even says like I couldn't leave because like he said that he would like find where I was at and like he would abuse me some more. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, that's the number one thing that abuses you. They be like, all right, it doesn't matter where you go, I'm gonna find you.
And the thing is like with a position like hers, it's just like this wasn't just like in a matter of a couple months. This is like years and years and years and years and years of going on. And it was like the same situation, you know, prior to them being married, it was all butterflies and sunshine and good dates and good food and all of this. And the moment that ring went on,
yeah, because once people get married, some people look at marriage as like, I own you, and that's literally what marriage is. You own your partner. So it's like there's no other way around it. Like some men really take that like, I own you, like you're mine, you're my property now. So
that's just wild.
That's how they look at it.
Yeah. So but like. And you know, like in the case, they was trying to say like, well, she shouldn't have taken that far, but it's just like and that's all I want to say. Like, you know, going through that kind of like abuse consistently, and you try to go to law enforcement, and you try to like.
Oh, law enforcement's a joke when it comes to domestic violence.
Yeah, like
a joke. It's a joke. The legal system when it comes to domestic violence is a joke. You can get more time for selling weed than you can for domestic violence, and that's just a fact. Like if. There was a guy who his wife kept calling the cops on him, and she kept saying like he's beating on me, he's abusing me, he's doing this and that, and the cops locked him up. They would lock him up for a month at a time. She got restraining orders, and he went to her job. I think she worked at like a beauty salon or like a nail salon, and he went in there and he shot her with the restraining order and all. Did not care. Went in there, shot her, and shot himself in the nail salon and killed her. People don't understand how real the repercussions are of being in abusive relationships. You know, watching these movies, you know, she got out of the situation, but you know, at the end of the day, a lot of times to end the abuse, you gotta either take the abuser out or the abuser's gonna take you out and him out or them out. They're gonna take themselves out. That's usually how it ends. Like once you're in too deep, they feel like they own you, and they're not gonna let you live a life without them. That's why they have rescue centers for women, and they have these networks where, like, once you get into the rescue things, they change like everything from like your alias to where you're staying. Like nobody knows where you are. Like they move you in these underground networks and things like that until you get on your feet.
With that though, is it a lot better today than it was maybe like just like. And, you know, this is one thing that I didn't even know, you know, coming into the case that she was, like, you know, an immigrant coming over here. Like, I think
and a lot of immigrants do get caught in those situations, especially ones that don't speak English. They get caught in a lot of abusive relationships, too. That's a heavy thing, too. Like, a lot of people buy mail order brides from, like, different countries. And because, you know, it's easier to manipulate someone who doesn't understand the culture, the language, and things like that. Women's rights. Like, they get women from countries who don't have much women's rights and things like that. Like they look at American women as like, oh, these women think they got it all. Like they're you know they're Wild West women, like, you know. And really in reality, no, it's like, no, I'm not gonna let you stampede all over me while you live your life, sir. Like absolutely not. So no.
Yeah. And like again, like, you know, I don't know, because again, I can't really speak from a place of like experience, but like, you know, going through like that kind of like physical and sexual abuse for like years, like that really has to like.
You only got one time put your hands on me, and that's
it. You know, like
one time put your hands on me.
But again, like
when you gonna wake up.
But again,
at Capitol Health,
it was kind of
trauma center.
It was kind of like that same scenario, not like Grace, but you know, she was like. Her family even said like, oh, she was so innocent, you know, she's a people pleaser, she wouldn't want to do, she just wants to resolve the situation and make like, so again, it's like kind of like preying on people
who are like that, who have good hearts. Abusers target specific people. They're not going to target the strong woman who is out here. Just like if you kidnap somebody, you're not going to kidnap the woman that looks like she's going to put up a fight. You're going to kidnap someone who's going to
tasers in her pocketbook, no
and knives and pepper spray. But you're going to target the person who who looks like, all right, she's not going to put up a fight if I go over there and try to kidnap her. Whereas you might see somebody who look like, this bitch might actually try to really fight me back. Like, I'm not even about to do all that. So it's like, you have to be mindful of the energy that you exude too. And then when you're getting into a relationship, like a lot of people get into relationships out of loneliness. They don't get into relationships out of love. They get into relationships because they don't want to be alone. They don't want to be by themselves. What's wrong with being by yourself?
What's a lot of people though?
A lot of people statistically do not get into relationships because they've happened upon somebody and they just fell in love. No, a lot of people get into relationships out of loneliness, like they're lonely, and especially now with the technology that we have with Facebook, Tinder, POF, Zeus, and all those other dating apps. It's
hookup sites.
It's one click away. One click away, you could be talking to somebody. You think, oh my god, we click, and you don't know that person is a psychopath. Like
hookup sites.
Like you have to be really careful of those things because they prey on people on those sites, and people this is not gender specific because girls go onto those sites and prey on dudes for money. They will go on there and be like, all right, he a quick come up. I'm about to see if I get $50 out of him. All right, if I ask 10 guys for $50, maybe 7 of them are gonna say no, but 3 of them might say yes. And that's $150.
Nothing, just laid on this little light bill, this little $40 or whatever.
Yeah, just a little $50, $100. Like, it depends on how much you want to ask for. But truth be told, like a lot of people don't get into relationships because like they fall in love genuinely. Like, yes, you can fall in love genuinely, but a lot of people get into relationships because they're alone, and then when you get older, you don't want to be alone. Like all your friends are married, all your friends are with somebody, they have somebody, and then you just out here by yourself still dating, asking people what's their favorite color and trying, see what's up, texting people and they disappear for hours. That's annoying.
That do get like you get tired of asking them same questions. Like,
you want to be with the same person over and over again, so they settle. And then settling is the worst thing you could do. Like I wouldn't even let sand settle in my cup of water. So I'm just saying, if you don't feel like that person is going to give you their 100%, move away. Like, don't get into something out of desperation and loneliness.
Let me ask you: is there anything justifying cutting a man's penis off?
Yes, if he abuses you sexually, I'm cutting that thing off.
Come on,
I'm gonna take my time. I might even use a butter knife.
It's 2020. Like I don't
right,
know.
It's 2020.
We gotta use these
social
justice.
The bread knife.
No, use the social justice.
I'm not using social justice. I'm cutting your dick off, and that's just that.
You're nuts. So we established that you're crazy. So,
I have blue hair. Like what more crazy can I be?
And
you put your hands over me or you sexually abuse me anyway, bitch, that dick is coming off.
And are they agreeing with you?
Yes.
Snip.
Yes, it's coming off with the bread knife or a butter knife.
Snip. All
depends on how I'm feeling. And I'm gonna put it on ice.
Oh man.
And make you sit there and be
doing porn.
Yes, I seen that. I think I did watch that documentary. I can't remember if I did vaguely, but I do remember vaguely him trying to like use it as like an outlet to make money from it. Yeah, exactly, Jenny. You're right.
This is why we need the whatchamacallit. We need all the comments linked up at one source.
I'm just saying, play with me if you want to. Let a man. Oh, you know what? And another thing that might get me to cut your thing off is if you go out and you cheat on me, you bring me home something that I can't get rid of. I'm gonna cut it off.
Yikes!
I'm gonna cut it off, and that's just that. You wanna be a dog and bring home fleas? Don't worry, I got something for you, baby. You gonna be neutered, baby. I'm gonna turn into an animal hospital real quick. Doggy hospital.
So, like, aside from like the relationship aspect and kind of going like, to like, I'm kind of backtracking with the grace thing, but like, how do you like understand that within like your quote unquote friendships or frenemies or whatever? Like, how do you like? When's the telltale signs that say like, okay, like, this person is not really, like, what's the like the telltale signs of really saying like, okay, like this person is like they a clown or they not really like they're not really looking out for my best interest. You know what I mean? Like just on the immediate like friends aspect.
You can't tell until something major happens. You never can tell when your frenemies until something happens that brings out that situation. And it usually happens like at like a pinnacle in your life, like when something major is happening. All right, a lot of frenemies that you have are jealous of something that you have. That's why they come into your life. They come to become your friend because they're jealous of something that you have that they want. Whether it be like, all right, say you're in a relationship, your man treat you good, he buy you flowers, he do this and that, and they're like lonely. They don't really have nothing. They ain't never had that. They ain't never experienced that. So now they're envious of your relationship. They don't know what goes on in your relationship other than what you may or may not disclose with them, but they will take that and be like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna push up on her man on the low. And you don't know. He might brush it off like, nah, I'm good. Like, but then like she'll pursue it a little bit more and see again what boundaries like or what not she can push in a person. So you know, and then eventually like it may or may not happen. And again, that's what will bring it out. And you may not even know about it. They may have a little thing going on, and then you might catch something like randomly, like, or someone else might say something to you that might see it, because when you're in love, you don't see a lot of things that are obvious to other people. When you're in love with somebody, you be like, nah, my friend would never do that. My man would never do that. But then, really, they doing you like that. So you have to really think like, all right, no. Let me be rational in this situation. Let me take a step back. Let me take my emotions out of this.
Coming from a guy's standpoint, I kind of like see like, you know, when I see like they not doing something that like you know, everybody makes mistakes here and there, but like when I see something that's like kind of like done with malicious intent, like something that you knew you wasn't supposed to be kind of like doing, I'm just like, all right, I can't really fuck with you too much after that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, James Bond, you're right.
Putting me in a position where it's just like, you know, that like that's like detrimental to me, like extremely, and like you put me in that position, like it's just like, nah, I can't rock with you. You know what I mean? Like I gotta put you at an arm's distance. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, don't even really hit me. I mean, like I already told you, like I'm not really quick to call anybody my friend or family or anything like that. And I kind of like peep how people move with like their other friends too. So I'm kind of like seeing like how they do or how they speak about certain people or whatever in a situation like that, like, and see how they operate.
Yeah,
like,
I learned that later on, like how
like the
how,
outside. Well,
how that is.
with that, like I was always kind of like mindful of that because I always kind of like stuck to myself, like, you know what I mean. Like I had like a real close relationship with my brother, so it was just like attaching myself to other people. If they did something that like I wasn't really too like hot of, I'm just like, you got like I don't know if you're gonna get another chance, another swing at this one. Like, buddy, like we good. I'm cool off this. You know what I mean?
So
like,
yeah.
But
from a woman's standpoint, we get bombarded with like girls who want to be our friends, or even guys who want to be our friends, like, you know, and we get bombarded with that because like girls will be like, oh yeah, girl, you know, like let's be friends, cool, and it's like, no, you know, like slow your roll, girl, like let's be cool first, and then let's see where it go from there. Like, let me see you in your comfortable space. Let me see you when we out with your friends. Let me see you when we out with my friends. If you don't want to interact with my friends, then I know something's up, because why you don't want to interact with my friends? I gotta interact with your friends.
And not for nothing, I've seen that in the workplace consistency. Like, you know, every couple months, these girls that have new best friends.
I feel like anybody who is a serial friend rotator, you have to check that person, because that means that they end up in cycles, and they'll also end up in cycles in relationships too. They'll end up in cycles where they'll befriend people who they think are their friends, and really these people are just trying to get an attachment onto you to get something out of you, like whether it be like a position at a job, whether it be like your man, whether it be like where you're at financially, or get advice from you, or maybe you may have resources that they want, like anything. Like, people use you for literally anything. So you have to be careful of who you let into your inner circle or whatever. Like, I'm a friendly person. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a friendly person. Like, I'm always like, you know, yeah, you know, But once you show me your true colors, like I've learned from being burned from my frenemy. Once you show me your true colors, like, no, I'm good tonight. Like, I'm chilling, like whatever. But really, in reality, I'm not gonna bash you. But you told me in confidence you're gonna stay with me till I die. But at the end of the day, I know, like, you're not. You don't have the best interest at my heart. Like, I've run into a lot of frenemies. I've had females use me for getting clout. I've had females use me for dudes that I. Girl, first of all, nobody likes me.
They trying to get clout off Yatta Debates. How dare you?
So it's like, you know, at the end of the day, you got to be careful of who you let into your circle. Like, and it doesn't matter about years or things like that, because a lot of the people who were my frenemies were friends since Sandbox days, and I didn't realize that they were my enemies until I got into being an adult and to being a mother. That's when I realized that they were my frenemies and things like that, because then I started peeping things that I never necessarily peeped as, you know, a naive, you know, teenager and things like that.
You don't ignore that comment.
I know nobody want me. That's what I'm saying. So I don't know why everybody want to be my friend for. That's what makes me suspicious immediately.
I'm like, don't ignore that one. You know, you need to respond to that. But
I do have good. My friends that I do have are great now, but it took me a while to get there.
I mean, but that's one thing. Like, a part of, like, you know, just growing up is just, like, you know, really seeing, like, who you need to keep in your immediate circle.
But relationship wise, like, yeah, I've run into dudes who tried to manipulate me, who tried to use me, who tried to do that, and you know, especially like before like my dramatic this time weight loss, like. Before that, when I was like at my heaviest, when I was like 220 and things like that, like a lot of dudes.
That's heavy. Like, that's not even heavy.
That's heavy to me. I'm 5'5". That's heavy. Like that's like heavy.
Look,
that's heavy machinery right there. Okay. So when I was at that weight, a lot of dudes would try to like come and they would think because I was a little bigger, like I would have lower self-esteem. But what they didn't realize was that I was coming into my own person, so I was more in love with myself then. Like even now I am, but. Then it was like I felt like they were coming to me to try to like be like, all right, she's a bigger girl, she'll be more successful, you know, giving me money, she'll more because you know she want me around, she ain't gonna get nobody else, and you know and it's like, sir, no, take a number. There's a couple more of them. He said 220 is obese. Walk me. I told you, yeah, I was a little heavy thing.
But like it's certain things that I'll see like how consistent you are, you know what I mean? Like just like it's certain things that I'll peep and it'll kind of really determine like how much I'll really fuck with you and not. It's just like, all right, yeah, you know, we can be cool, but this ain't really nothing serious. Or if I see something that's like really sparking my interest, it's just like, yeah, like things that I'm willing to work with. But if it's certain things that I'm seeing just like that I know is just like dead from the beginning, and it's just like, nah. and I tell people like it don't really take me any kind of like long-winded amount of time to make that kind of decision. Like I'll make it like, you know, probably like within 2 weeks, 2.5, 3 weeks. After that, I'm just like, or if it's a dating aspect, like if we go on a date, right, and the second date's cool, if the first date's cool, second date's cool, just like, and we talking consistently, all right, yeah. But if the first date is trash, second date is trash, it's just like.
Or we could talk about how people who will be all good in the beginning and then start ghosting you. We can talk about that too. But, you know, I don't know what he is talking about. Y'all is wilding. But, you know, that is another thing too. Like, everything will be all good in the beginning. Everything's cool. Like, they want to hang out with you, see you, and then all of a sudden, like, now they don't have any time anymore or anything like that. And it's like, no, you just say you just got somebody else. Like, just be real. Like, we could all be real. We're adults in this room now. We're not kids no more.
It's 2020. Just be
look,
cut
I'm not.
Intentions.
Like, you know, I told myself, like, I'm not going to ghost nobody no more. That was one of my resolutions for New Year's. Like, I wasn't going to ghost somebody. Like, I was going to, you know, just say my piece, whether you want to hear it or not, whether you read it or not, whether you hear it or not. But I'm going to say my piece so that you know why I'm cutting you off or why I'm falling back. And then I move forward with my life. Because I'm not tolerating none of that shit.
Yeah.
Not this year. I wasn't tolerating it last year. None of it. Like, no. Once you show me that, I joke a lot on Facebook about being toxic and all that stuff like that. But really, in reality, like toxic relationships are not healthy for you, and they hinder your growth more than actually help you grow as a person. So I joke a lot about that. But coming from and being in toxic relationships, that's not a joke. Like you have to really. I'm sorry, I'm just all taking up Yatta's space.
Yeah.
You have to really think about like what you really want out of your life, what you want out of a relationship, what you want from yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And, I realized for myself that I didn't want to be in a relationship where I had to put myself second and put my partner first. Like, I feel like we should be a team and we should elevate each other. There should be no first or second place. It should be elevation, like we elevate each other. And that's why I was like, well, if I'm not gonna find somebody who's gonna elevate me and they don't have nothing more to offer me than just some dick, then I don't really have nothing to do with you. Like, we don't really have nothing to talk about, do, or say. Like, that's really just it. And I'm cool. Like, my phone dry as hell. Like, I be chilling. So, you know.
I don't believe that when she's saying her phone dry as hell.
Yeah, we've been on this debate for so long, and ain't nobody called me.
We probably put it on Do Not Disturb this time, like I did.
Yeah, you need shit.
Do Not Disturb. It's all fair game here on Yatta Debates.
But no, I really had to take time, like, to really think, like, you know, like, I didn't want to keep cycling through relationships and things like that. And that's how you end up in an abusive relationship. You cycle through relationships and things like that. So it's like, you know, you don't want to keep doing that. You want stability. Like, I don't know, I'm a Capricorn, so I'm an earth sign, so naturally I want stability. That's like me. I want my foundation to be solid. So I want stability. I want to set that, you know, foundation of the stable, like, this is my home, this is my man, this is my marriage, this, that, and the third. Like, I don't want to be bouncing around from relationship to relationship. Like, people, every week they see me posting a new king every week. Like, I don't want to do that.
Good morning, king.
No, I'm not doing that.
And me, like, I'm a Gemini, so when I want stability, I want stability. And when I want to be fleeting, I want to be fleeting. Yeah. It's simple as that. But the thing is, I make those intentions clear, like, off the rip. Like, yeah, like, I'm not the type to say, like,
yeah, I've been very clear now too, also with people, like, anyone who has, like, tried to talk to me, I let them know, like, I'm not looking for that. I don't want to date. I don't want no friends. I don't want no buddies. Like, I don't want none of that. Like,
no cuddy buddies.
None of that. Like, we can be cool, whatever. If you try to date me, that's fine, but I'm not gonna, like, you know, I'm gonna let you know, like, that's not something that I'm looking to get into. I'm not looking for that. I need to work on myself, build myself up, elevate myself so that I could vibrate at my highest level and then meet somebody who vibrates at that level with me. Because if I'm vibrating at this level right now, I'm gonna attract people who vibrate at this level. And if I'm vibrating at a low frequency, then I'm gonna attract people who are vibrating at low frequencies too, who can drain me and bring me down further rather than elevate me. So that's why I'd rather just, you know, be by myself. And I'm not going to end up in prison. So that's another thing too.
No,
because
snip,
I'm not doing that.
All 2020.
I'm not doing that.
You're not going to be the next Lorena Bobbit?
Not Lorena Bobbit, not Grace, none of that. Because you ain't going to have to come in my life and
you can get a book deal, though.
Me and do all that. I'm not getting no book deal.
Look,
I'll get a book deal from something else.
Look, be the manipulator.
What?
Go into a manipulative relationship.
I'm not doing that.
And write a book about it.
I'm not.
It's like, nah, I was just playing.
Somebody chop my titty off. That's it. Now that we can't do no more debates. So
you can still do debates with one titty.
I'm not doing debates with one titty.
That was uncalled for.
But in all actuality, like, you know, I just feel like we as people should take a hard look at ourselves and don't look at, like, you know, like, circumstances and things around us, like, oh, you know, for years she had that job for years, she owned her home that she built up, like, she fixed up for herself, and she didn't look at all those things that she had going for herself. She just looked at the fact that she was lonely and that her husband had cheated on her and things like that. And again, self-esteem can really be the killer of everything, and it can also be the start of toxic relationships, because people with low self-esteem, that's what will do it. Insecurities kill anything, relationships, anything. Like, if you're in a relationship with someone who's insecure, the number one thing is, all right, you can have social media and be in a relationship and be in a healthy relationship, but if you're in a relationship with someone who's insecure, you can't do that, because everything that you do, post, say, quote, whatever, take a picture of, do, like, whatever, is going to be a problem for them. If someone says, hey, I like your posts, and they consistently comment on your posts, your significant other, if they're a secure partner, they're like, you know, that person really, you know, really has some good insight on your post, like, you know, do you know them, whatever, and they'll trust your word. But
is there any kind of appropriation like that? Is there certain things that you shouldn't do on the social media realm that might be like a little suspect?
I feel like you shouldn't openly flirt with people on social media, but again, that goes with boundaries, setting and establishing boundaries in your relationship. Some people may be like, yeah, you can flirt with those people because those are imaginary computer people, like, whatever. But again, that's something that you would have to establish in your relationship. Like, for me, Facebook is Facebook to me. It's entertainment.
It's like fun and games,
It's
right?
fun and games to me. Like Instagram, Facebook, all that. It's all like fun and games or informational things like that. It's nothing that I would take like seriously, like where I'd be like, oh, who such and such, whatever. But if I see like in your messenger, like you are talking real risky and risque and freaky to somebody, then yeah, it's gonna be a whole with the whole, you know, then that's a whole different ball game. Like, you know, if you're taking that and you're using your posts and things, your comedian side to lure women in to, you know, get some booty, then yes, that's gonna be a problem for somebody who you're in a relationship with. But if you're just really just doing it off the strength of, you know, like, oh, you know, I'm just being funny, and you are able to, you know, still post her if I want to show, you know, that this is my lady. But at the end of the day, you shouldn't let the social media be the determining factor of your relationship either. That's another form of abuse too. Like, I feel like people who have joint Facebook accounts, that is abuse.
We have a question though. It says, question. So with Trenton so small, how does that work?
I feel like with Trenton being so small, don't date anybody here. Because once you dated one person, you probably dated everybody. So, with that being said, that's my take on it. Because once you dated one person here, you pretty much had the whole rodeo. Pretty much.
Move to PA.
Don't even do that. It's the same thing. The same people, they move right out to PA. People from Trenton move to PA. Like, what are you talking about? Y'all gotta move to like Nebraska or something.
Let's stop it. Well, yeah, this was today on Yatta Debates, and you know, we learned a lot on, you know, abuse. And please, for anybody who is watching on YouTube, please let me know how the connection was, the audio and everything. Assuming it was pretty good since we were getting like the reactionary comments. So, you know, always stay tuned to Yatta Debates. If you are liking our channel, please subscribe and leave a like on the video. And we appreciate you guys while we are going through these technical upgrades. And
as we elevate ourselves too.
So
it's the age of the Aquarius.
Is it?
Yes, it is. And the year of the rat, which means good fortune and success. Happy Chinese New Year.
The year of the snitching.
Hell yeah.
So, you know, but yeah, so you know, thank you for everybody who has been supporting everyone to stay tuned.
Yep, and make sure you guys, I'll post the links and things to the YouTube channel on my page, and just, you know, like, comment, subscribe, share, and, you know, keep the conversation going, like, you know, under the comments, because I'll definitely be under the comments after the video, coming to anyone that I missed, anything that I missed, to, you know, let y'all know, like, you know, my take on things and like that. So, love you guys, and thank you for watching.
Until next time.
Until next week, Wednesday. See you guys.